Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Tomboi Talks. I'm K.Short, your host, and today we're getting the opportunity to talk to Kayden, which I'm so excited to introduce you all to them because Kayden and I actually have found a little bit of friendship in our conversations thus far. And Kayden, I feel like, is someone who I relate very closely to in terms of us being like Filipino, also being like first generation American, and also just like moving through life as like a brown tomboy and just trying to figure out what it means to be in this country while also having family that's from, the mainland in the Philippines. And so for those of you who are part of families who have immigrated over here to the States, I know that there's sometimes a lot of conversation about like, what will people think? I feel like that's a big conversation for a lot of folks that come from brown communities, is like always being considerate of what other people are going to think about us. And I think as we step into ourselves more, that sometimes takes a bigger toll on us than we would like. But I want you all to meet Kayden because Kayden is continuously having those hard conversations with their family, but are also still wanting to be true to themselves and what life has in store for them. So not only of what life has in store for them, something I want to share with all of you is that they have some big dreams. And when I say big dreams, I just mean by when they told me their dreams, I was like, whoa, I've never had anyone have dreams bigger than mine. And so when she told me, I was like, what? I was like, okay, I see you, and I'm gonna hold you accountable because now we're homies, and I want that to happen, and I want that person to reach that level of success because I wouldn't want anybody else in terms of representing us in a positive way. So I hope you all enjoy getting to know Kayden as much as I did. Speaking of that, this is different. I have a crush on Justin, but I don't have a crush on her name. I feel like there's something different here. How did you start stepping into your queerness and understanding it?
I think when I was younger, I had no idea, even though I did gravitate about it. Like I remember, do you remember that the big buddy, little buddy system when you were younger? I don't know if you
Yeah,
had that,
yeah.
but
Going to the
okay.
restroom and stuff and like having to have somebody with you.
Yeah, well, at my school they did have like a little buddy and big buddy, and it's like the older kids would partner up with the younger kids and like kind of be like the person we look up to and our mentor and type of thing. And I remember just being like so I wanted to be with mine like all the time because she was so pretty. She was so pretty. I gave her a hug, endless amount of hugs, endless amount of hugs. Like I would just like hang around her all the time. But I didn't think that way. I just like it didn't
Oh
really
my
occur to me
God.
until I got older. I'm like, oh my god, I was really into this girl.
And it's so interesting that your natural inclination is to hold them, is to, you know what I mean? And
Right,
like,
yeah.
how old were you and how old were them? What grades?
I was like 7 years old, and she was about 13 or 14.
Oh, much older.
Much
Okay.
older, yeah. So, so like she was really pretty, and she was the one I wanted to. Like I remember like first walking to the room, and I'm like, wow, like she's really pretty. I want her to be my big buddy because like you get to pick and stuff, and like I ran to her like
What,
right
you got
away.
to pick?
Yeah, like
Wow.
it was assigned, but not really. It was like more so whoever you gravitated towards, and like that's who I gravitated towards. I was like, hi.
Have you in any way got in touch with that person since then?
You know what?
Because
No,
it's
because
the age of social media. You can no.
right, that is so true. To be honest, I don't remember her last name. Her name was Abigail though. So, I don't Abigail, if you're watching this,
Go ahead. You're on speaker view. Tell her everything you wanted to tell her.
don't be afraid to reach out, like you're awesome. I learned a lot from you. You're great. Oh man. Yeah.
So you're 7 years old. This is
Yeah.
is this what you remember as your first clue? You're like, Yeah, she's a
Yep.
hottie. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. That was my first clue. But again, like it didn't like click in my head until like 13, 14 years old. That's when I'm just like, I think I like females a little above the average, you know?
Yeah, you're like, I think just one notch more.
Yeah.
Not too much. Was there any
Right?
other clues after 7 years old?
I
Were
think
you
it's the
falling in
fact.
love with Disney princesses a little more than usual?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I wanted to be like the Prince Charming in Night. Like that should have already been like a huge clue for me, but it still didn't, cuz like I would watch like the Disney princesses movies and I would be obsessed, but I wouldn't be the princess. Like I didn't want to be the one to wear the dress and stuff. I actually wanted to wear like the knight armor and like
Mm-hmm.
carry a
Mm-hmm.
sword with me, and like it did not click in my head. Then I'm like, oh, like because I wanted to be Prince Charming. It was just like, oh no, this is a cool movie, but this is how I want to be.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I even remember being like in kindergarten. I have a very vivid memory that on the playground we had like this castle jungle gym type of thing. And I
Hmm.
remember being the only knight, like I
Yeah.
was like the girls were all on the castle and the boys were
Right.
like bad guys because they always are. And I was
Yeah.
just like fighting them away. I don't know how, but I was fighting them away the way that I could, and
Hmm.
also the same with you, like really highly identifying with the prince and stuff. Like I remember when I was doing drag for the first time, my very first unknown name had the word prince in there, and I don't know, like even yeah, I just feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm curious if I wonder if like there's some attraction to being a prince because it's kind of like that in between, like you're
Yeah.
not like this full grown like king, you know what I
Right.
mean? But you're like I'm
Yeah.
just like I don't know. Prince kind of has allows for like still like youngish, boyish feelings, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with like because of how we look now. Like if I decided to do tea tomorrow, which it is a huge possibility for me, like that is something that like I am strongly thinking about. But like if I were to like actually go through with it right now and like I feel like that would be just the goal set. I'm like, okay, like I would like to represent myself like a little more manly. But sticking with like the what our my biology is at the moment, like that's the closest I can like picture myself at the moment because like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how it would look like as a man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that has to do with like our biology a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Actually, I read about tea this morning.
Hmm.
There's this amazing book out there. It's called "Freeing Ourselves," and it was written by brown boys for brown boys, and it's from the Brown Boy Project that I was a part of. But long story short, they created a book for us in terms of I in terms of giving us information for both, for both being for feminine information, like when we need to do like mammograms and like all that stuff, and
Yeah.
like menopause, and like even for younger brown boys in terms of periods and things like that. But also
Hmm.
like I'm on that section where they're talking about tea and like those things that they need to be like watching out for, and like talking about all the things that can happen by being on tea. And just reading it this morning, I'm
Wow.
like, do I wanna? Do I want that? You know what I mean? For me,
You're
I was just
right.
like,
Yeah.
is that? I mean, and it's not only like, it's not even just about like feeling visibly like the way that I want to feel or look like, but
Hmm.
it's like, wow, I didn't realize that there's all these other side effects that like is just not enough information, in the world to be like, this is what it's like. And one thing, just because I know that you're in the process of doing research, one thing that is said on there was looking for probably like a more holistic approach. You know what I mean? And they were
Hmm.
just talking about how like most bodies are different. We're the same but different. But it's
Right.
like they just give you the same amount of dosage or whatever, right? Like for the same clients or whatever. But it's like if you can find maybe a holistic person who can prescribe tea, and like it'll be more catered to you and your body type. So just just a heads up. I think that's also an option if that's something you're still
Wow.
considering.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely something I am strongly considering. My difficulty in like actually going through the, and this has been something like I have thought about for a really long time, is how my family is going to think of it, and
Yeah.
like I'm very much of a person with like anyone else. I always encourage, like, be yourself, um like I totally get that, family might not understand right now, but like give them the chance to be able to understand as you're going through your journey. And like I'm a strong preacher in that. It's just I could also understand how difficult that is, because I'm struggling with the same thing, like I'm and yeah, that's where I'm at. So it's more so just like, okay, like how do I go about this? I feel like now it's just like, I feel like it's, you just kind of have to go about it, and then if they ask questions, like I can educate them, and like that should be totally fine. It's just, the anxiety of getting those questions is what's getting to me.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's the thing. This is obviously different because it's the physicality of you. You know what I mean? It's different when you're like, I'm gonna go to a different school, or I'm moving out of state, or I'm gonna get married, or like whatever.
Right.
And I feel like I've always thought that the best way to combat that is to have a plan and to be the most like educated on it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if I'm gonna
exactly.
move, I mean, like, hey, this is where I want to move. This is how much money I'm making. This is how much it takes to afford. These are the roommates I'm gonna be living. Like, just being like, and I don't know if it is coming from. I mean, I think this is for any kind of family, but it's just coming maybe from Filipino parents. They're kind of a little bit more overbearing and like, I know what's best for you, like for
Right.
sure. Like, cause I don't know. And correct me if I'm wrong, but let's talk about it. Like, when it comes to brown families, I think that you can't leave the house unless you're getting married. You know what I mean? Like, of course it's different. We're moving in a different generation where we're leaving at college or whatever the case. We're leaving sooner than later. But I know my mom would still take me in with open arms with my partner because we
Right.
still don't have kids and I can live with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, in the United States, I see you're out the house at 18. Bye. Like, we'll see you for all the holidays, but, and you're kind of like on your own, but I feel like, I don't know, do you feel that may be similar for you in terms of like your parents, like really thinking that they know what's best for you, and how do you combat that?
I mean, I think more so now that I do live more independently and I don't really rely on them on a lot of things. Actually, I don't really rely on them anymore. But I think like the more I started to like gain my independence and like not really ask them for anything, they started to respect like what my choices were. But for a while, especially living under their roof, they were like, no, this is how you should go about things. I mean, like, I think I mentioned before, I went through nursing school, That wasn't exactly something I wanted to do, but they were like, your tita is in nursing school, your uncle is in nursing school, like...
I love the Filipino dialect. I don't know why. Maybe I just love hearing it, but I don't know, I just love it. And I love when people can reenact. I'm like, yes, that is right. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Cracks me up every time. Yeah, no, like, but that's the thing, is like I went through nursing school thinking like, oh, like, okay, I'm gonna live my life and like I'm gonna be happy because I'll be making so much money, and that's what my parents told me to do, until like I was like, but this isn't exactly what I really wanted to do, so yeah, they very much did influence like my choices before, but I was able to like find I was able to find myself, and I felt like the times when I was like, okay, mom, okay, dad, like, I think it's time for me to leave the nest. And they were like, no, you haven't graduated nursing school yet. I'm like, no, like, it's it's time for me to go because I don't want to go through nursing school anymore.
I'm not gonna graduate from nursing school.
Yeah, like, I want to not anymore. This is what I want to do. But yeah, now that like they see like my little achievements and successes here and there, and they're very proud of me now. They're like, okay, like, this is what you mean. This is what you were talking about. Oh, wow, you can live on your own and like, not bumming off the streets trying to busk and stuff. But yeah, like they can see that like I can still provide for myself and my partner and my dog, you know, like, and I'm okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
hmm
Were they, so coming out, like, were they as accepting? Because we talked about, like, your parents are younger, so they might be a little bit more hip to the times and stuff.
right.
But, like, how was that process for you? And now that we're having this conversation of coming out in a different way.
Um, well, when I came out as actually, I didn't even come out like as gay to them at first. When I was around 13 years old, I said I think I like girls. You
I
know,
said the
and
same thing.
yeah, yeah. And at first, my mom was just scared out of her mind, and like she didn't know what to say or do. So she was like, she calls my dad in, like, "Dang, you have to come in here!" Like, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I wasn't ready to come out to dad right now, but okay." Like, you know, and
Wow.
I had to come out to both of them when I was 13 years old, and my we had like this really long conversation about it where they were like, are you sure? Like, maybe it's because you don't hang out with your mom enough. Like, you should start hanging out with your mom more. Or like, and my dad at one point was like starting to blame himself. He was like, maybe because like I had you hang out with me and like we were doing all these things and like, you know, I knew you were a tomboy growing up, but like maybe we shouldn't have been doing these things. And it like took a long time for them to realize like there was no, it didn't matter what they did. Like, I am the way I am. So yeah, like it was really difficult at first, and there were a couple of times where we did get into fights, but it wasn't because like my parents hated me. It was because they were scared. They were scared of like how my life was gonna be, like how people were gonna treat me at school, because being 13 years old, I'm technically still just starting high school. So they knew like bullying was a thing, and like what are other people going to think? What is the rest of the family going to think? Coming from a Catholic family, um, and you know, like because of their strong opinions, I actually didn't come out to like the rest of the family until I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did have like a girlfriend at the time who I had already been dating for like 2 or 3 years. So like she had to be like this little secret that my parents only knew about, but not like the rest of the family. Um, but yeah, it turned out that everyone was super supportive. Some people were honestly not surprised at all. They were like, "Yeah, we know," you know. um, Actually, I think it was like my both my lolas. They were like, you know, like I thought that, but you know, we didn't want to make that assumption, but yeah, like it makes sense. You were pretty much like a boy stuck in a girl's body your whole life. So I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, the exact words my Lola used was um even though you look like a girl, you have a heart of a man. And
Mm.
I thought it was like really interesting that she said that. I was like, wow, like that was
Mm.
deep. And she was like, no, but like I saw that in you, so you know it made sense. It was just a matter of like when you were gonna talk to me. Because she did try to ask those questions before, and I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about, Lola. Like, you know. Um, but yeah, like overall, everyone's super accepting, and even though it was quite a struggle and a journey, everyone is so supportive, and they love my partner Yasmin. Like, we all get along. If anything, if it's just me that shows up to any family gatherings, the first thing they say is not even hi. They're just like, "Where's Yasmin?" I'm like, "Hi."
Like, am I part of the family or are they? I'm confused here.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful too that, like, what I was showing you when we got the chat earlier, just on TFC, they are just like, you know, progressively moving forward and having like trans people be on TV, like a lot of them, you know, and we know that Charisse ended up transitioning to Jake.
Right.
And we have this other one, their name is Ice now, but they were like the main like tomboy in all of the soap operas, you know, and then they have this trans woman as a host. I don't know their name. And then that whole show, that's my tomboy, you know? So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, for me, I feel like to convince the Filipino people maybe this is my ignorance, but to convince the Filipino people, if you put it on TFC, then it's true. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
if you just want to sway a whole country, like if it's on TFC, then it has to be true, But
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's so cool that I don't know, like especially when it comes to like your lalad, she's like, no, like there's something deeper here, and being able
Yeah.
to recognize that in you. I mean, you said that this was around 13. You didn't really full out come out to your family when you were 18. And then when did you start learning about being bigender? And then when did you say like, you know what, I think this is me.
Um, to be honest, I just started realizing it like last year. And it was because I had like this back and forth with myself. When I was around, uh, like 20 years old, that's when I told myself, like, okay, I think I might be transgender because, like, I have had these feelings for the longest time. And I did come out to some of my close friends at the time, too, where I'm like, this is how I feel. I think I'm transgender. I'm going to go by Kayden now. Like, it was like this whole thing. And it wasn't until, like, I started actually, like, seeing therapists and, like, trying to go through transitioning and, like, even yeah, just going through that whole thing, I was like, whoa, like, I'm gonna make some permanent changes here. This is what I really want to do. And, like, I really had to think about it. And it wasn't until, um, I don't know, I think I had this conversation with my mom. I'm like, Mom, this is how I feel. And she was like, well, like, you go through with this, there's, like, no going back. And that thought just scared me. And because I was so scared, I was like, oh, maybe I don't feel this way. So I literally like 360'd that year and just like grew my hair out. I started, if anything, I feel like I even like started dressing more feminine just to kind of like embrace my womanhood, I guess.
Mm.
And was just like, okay, like maybe I was wrong in this, and like I just kind of like went back. And to be honest, like I wasn't totally sad, but like I did like part of me still was feeling like something was missing, and like I'm like, okay, I felt like something was missing when I was trying to transgender into a man, but then I also feel like something's missing when I'm like just being a woman. Like what is that? And it wasn't until like I had met my partner Yasmin right now. um we had like long talks and conversations about like how I felt and what I was feeling and like what parts of myself like do I like and what I don't like. um and it wasn't until we had went to a music festival together, and it was at EDC. I was just like looking at the sky and just seeing how everything was beautiful, and then I had like this moment with myself. I'm like, I'm beautiful, like why do I have to choose, and that's when I was just like, I think I'm both. And I turned to Yaz and I was like, I think I'm I think I'm both. And she was like, what do you mean? She didn't know what I was thinking about. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't think I just completely feel like a man. I don't feel like I'm completely a woman. Like I think I'm both. Like, is there a term for that? And I quickly Googled it on my phone, and um I just thought of the words. I'm like, okay, there's bisexual, like bi, and then I feel like, and then it's my gender. So I Googled bi gender, and lo and behold, there's an entire community. And I was like, oh my God, this is a thing. Like, this is who I am. This is what I associate with. Like, and I went like throughout my whole life not knowing that was a thing, and I don't know, it was like a really like powerful moment for me. I'm just like, wow, like I'm not some person that's just not like, there's so many other people who feel the same way, and for a while like I've just felt alone. Like I felt like I was the only transgender person that was still like, not completely satisfied with going through transition, or like I was the only the woman that was like having these thoughts, like, and it turns out like I'm bi gender. I feel like both. And yeah, and like that's how I was able to find myself. And like, I don't know, it just like, it's just, I look back at that and like I still feel that like, that like settling feeling. Like, I don't know, the best way I can describe it is like, um, after you had just finished like that really good meal, you know, and you feel good, and like, and it was just like, it just hit all the right spots. Like that was the feeling I got, you know. I'm like, wow, I feel satisfied. Um, yeah, so
I love that. I love that. What year was that? How long ago was this?
last year.
Last year. So you've been feeling pretty settled for the past year.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man, and I feel like every single day, like I felt a little better with myself. Yes, there are days where like I do feel that gender dysphoric, and um I have trouble with like with some of my body parts, but I feel like I'm going about my life now where I do make these changes for myself. Like I wear a binder, and like that like changed my just it changed my world, you know. Because like I really have thought about having top surgery and stuff, and that is something I eventually want to go through with. But like for the meantime, like actually finding a binder that like fits and I feel comfortable with, I'm like, yes, I feel good, I feel happy, like I feel like I can express myself and like how I feel on the inside on the outside. And
So what is bigender? What is that community all about, and feeling like you identify with that?
so being by gender, it's pretty much like encompassing both the feelings of feeling female and male. Um and it can like it can be different for anyone in the bigender community, to be honest, because then you have cis people who were originally born as males, like actually feel a little more feminine versus masculine, although they do feel is they feel like both. And then you have people like me who were born female, but then like I feel like I have like both those aspects. And interesting enough, like there was someone in the bigender group that I'm in on Facebook that said that maybe that's the case because like we went through that first half in life as like whatever you were biologically born with. Like that's why now we like express ourselves more in the opposite gender. So like, and it was interesting that they said that because I'm like, wow, like maybe that's probably why. Because like I feel like the woman part of myself is already just satisfied. It's fine, you know. But then like the masculine side of myself, that's where I'm just like I want to be able to express that, make sure people know, you know. Um and yeah, it's just it's crazy to think about. But yeah, like that's pretty much what bigender is, and everyone has their own different ways of going through gender dysphoria, you know, like and I feel like when you go through gender dysphoria versus someone who is transgender, like they can feel it like all the time. I feel like it's an not an on and off switch, but like it there's waves.
Maybe it's like a sideways switch, because like sometimes so maybe it's a sideways one.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Because I'll have days where like it would really get to me, and then other days I'm like, I'm fine. Like, you know, it's cool. Um, yeah. And I've noticed with myself too, where like the days where I do feel a little more masculine, my voice just kind of like it goes down a little bit. I don't know. Like
Literally the switch.
it's a switch. Yeah, there's like an actual switch where like I literally feel my voice going down. But then like the days where I'm like I will wear makeup and like I wouldn't wear a dress per se, but like I don't know, something in the girly matter. Like my voice literally goes up an octave for some reason. I don't know. It's just yeah, and it's yeah, I literally switch.
I know that since we first got to know each other, I think it's like we're almost on our month now. And finally recording this, I know. We started talking about, month anniversary. We talked about transitioning and stuff, and I'm wondering, and I told you about microdosing and all that, and things I was looking at or possibly thinking of doing. Where are you at in that process? Do you still identify with bigender? Or are you finding yourself more on the trans spectrum and revisiting that with microdosing? And yeah, where are you at with that?
I I am definitely like going I feel like I'm leaning towards microdosing versus like, going through like actual tea shots. Um, because like there's androgel. I'm not sure if you're familiar. Yeah, like so
You've done all the research for me, so that's why. You tell me. You tell us what is out there that you've seen so far.
right. So like there is this thing called androgel, and that's like a topical cream that does contain like testosterone, and I'm finding people who decide to microdose, like that's what they go for, because when you're taking shots and it goes straight to your bloodstream, like it does have like a more um like impactful effect, and like that's where people would see those changes more quickly versus when you do microdose, like it's like a slow process. Because like I mean, if anything, it's almost like going through puberty at like a zero point 0.5 speed, and because some of the people that I'm watching, like their voice doesn't sound like as deep as it could be, but it's like right down the middle, and that's somewhere where I'd like to be, where like I can maintain that middle, versus like actually growing, like I mean, I don't know, like maybe I will want to grow a beard one day, but I highly doubt it. But like versus like actually becoming like a full grown man. And yeah, like I feel like there's that part of myself that like thinks that's really cool, and like maybe that is something I want, but at the moment right now, like I would rather just stick to somewhere in the middle where I wouldn't have to like go through that full entire body change. Um, but yeah, like yeah.
How far along are you in the process now? Like, it sounds like you're pretty sure you're like, I do want to try microdosing. Like, are you in the next steps of like trying to find where you can get that from and talking to your doctor or anything like that?
Yeah, so there was there was like this online thing I recently found. It's called Pride Counseling.
Cool.
Yeah, I think their website is pridecounseling.com. But anyway, I can send you the link. So I actually found that through an Instagram ad, because I was like, yeah. And so like I did go into that, and like it's a little bit on the pricey side, but then I saw that I could like apply for financial aid. That took a lot off of it because I'm a student, and so yeah, like if anything, I think everything went down to like half price. um and there's like a virtual counselor that can talk. I haven't found like the right one for me, to be honest, quite yet, but like that's where I'm at, is like finding that counselor that I can feel like I can really resonate with, and be with me during this process, and like help me get a hold of androgel, and have that be like rightfully prescripted versus just like trying to buy it online, because I see there are some people who do that, and I highly discourage that, just because like coming from like a medical field background, like that's not something you should do. Like there is some danger still, like you don't want to just like speed up the process, or like not know like how much you should take. It's still a drug, and you always have to be careful with that.
I know a big part of like not wanting to fully transition is the voice, And so, as you being a singer, I'm curious about your process of being an artist and a musician and all of the things you know how to play and how you got into that. Did all of the karaoke and all the karaoke Filipino parties start this journey for you?
Okay, if I want to be really honest here, I learned how to play the guitar to like impress a girl.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started for me. Like I was in love. Like that's like point. Like that's what it was. Like
isn't that why we do anything nowadays? Like, how old were you when you were falling in love with this person?
I was like 13, 14 years old. That's also how I knew I was gay, to be honest, was because like that she was my best friend. I feel like everyone has went through that, like falling in love with their best friend, but she was my best friend, and she was in band, and she was very much into music. Like, she'll send me songs and stuff, and like I think she made a comment too about some guy that was just like, yeah, like knowing how to play the guitar is like so hot, and she said something like that, and I was like, really? You know?
Picking up the clues.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where I was just like, okay, like I definitely want to learn how to play the guitar. And I, oh my gosh. First of all, me getting a hold of a guitar, I did not take the bus for like 4 or 5 months. And it was because my parents used to give me money to take the bus. You know, they'll give me a little bit of an allowance just to take it every day. And that was only like maybe $1 or $2, right? So I was like, I'm going to save this money to get myself a guitar. So like 3 or 4 months later, I finally was able to like put all of that together to like buy myself a guitar. Yeah, I was really in love, dude. So like I got myself that guitar, learned how to play it by watching a bunch of YouTube tutorials, and man, it did take a while for me to actually finally get it right. And then that's where I feel like that passion in me grew, you know, like it. And I think like along the way, it wasn't so much about impressing her anymore. It was just like, holy crap, like I love this. Like I love this instrument. Like I worked so hard to get this instrument, you know? And yeah, so like from there, you know, she's not really in my life anymore. But I feel like it really stuck to me, and like, I feel like I kind of like fell in love with something else, you know, and that's how that passion in me grew. And like I joined a lot of choirs in order to help me out vocally and like, you know, develop my voice. I did go through more YouTube tutorials of how to like sing scales and get to learn a little bit of notes. I'm not like very fast at reading notes, although I am getting a little faster. But yeah, like that's how I got into music, and from there I started to like actually songwrite and like be able to channel however I'm feeling internally into my music. And oh man, it's like this, I don't know, beautiful long marriage I have with it, and we're happy, you know. I mean, we've come a long way. We had our ups and downs, but like I feel happy. I love music, and yeah, that's how I found my passion.
I love that. So you're not saying that you would practice at the Filipino parties while you sing karaoke? I mean, I feel like it's the best. This is the best place to practice.
I forgot you said that. Yes. No, I totally did. I feel like once my parents like saw that I was practicing my voice, and I don't know when it was exactly, but I do remember like one particular party where I decided to hop onto the karaoke and like started singing, and that's when my parents were like, wow, you can sing, like who knew you can sing like this? You know? But then, oh gosh, it was poison though, because as soon as I learned how to sing, like every party it was like, oh, sing that song you know so good, like your voice sounds so good. Yeah. So but it was definitely good practice for me.
So now that you've been singing for a while, did you ever get the girl?
Are you talking about the one like from way back when?
Yeah, when you learned how to play the guitar for them and everything.
Oh no, she was the one that got away, to be honest. But,
but was she queer though? Like, was she queer enough to be like, yeah, or?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I think there's that part of me that wanted her to be, and at some moments, like, I feel like she kind of was, but it was weird. Like, we never like did anything past like holding hands, but she used to send me love songs, but there was never a conversation after that. Like, and I think that's what killed me, you know? Is that she would send me love songs, and I'm like, what does that mean? And, you know.
What does that mean?
Right? Like, being 13, you're just like, great song. Like, you know?
Honestly, like, I'm getting transported to those days, and it was like it was not a healthy, like, obsession, right? Like, over these girls.
Yeah, no, it was. I know, right? I actually do know where she's at. We are Facebook and Instagram friends, so that's cool. But I don't think we've never, like, actually talked after that. It was, there was, like, a weird end to that. I think it was, like, it was scared little me, like, afraid of my feelings, and that's where I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna, like, walk away from this situation, you know? But yeah, I don't think I feel like at the time I didn't allow myself to get there, you know, like, and never really had like that talk and stuff with her, just because like I wasn't ready to have that talk with myself. So like, you know, yeah, so instead I was just kind of like, bye. But yeah. Oh man, that was definitely like my first heartbreak, I will admit. Like, I was so sad for a little while. Yeah.
Speaking of your music, really quick, I just want to say that I'm a fan. I was able to see some of your open mics and stuff, and I was like, oh no, like I actually like this, you know, because like it's really easy to just be cool. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, we're friends, of course I'm a fan. No, but I'm like, listen, I'm like, no, like I actually like this, and like if at that time, or you know, you had passed like just solo music out and like pursuing, I'm like, no, like I would follow you on Spotify and like do the whole thing and listen to your music.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, I think your songwriting is really great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, like at one point I was pursuing it solo, and I was actually performing at I think the video that you saw, I was performing at a pizza joint, and I used to perform there every Thursday. And it was nice because it was like the first paid gig I had, and I would go there every Thursday, make some extra money, and you know, had some free pizza and drinks, so that was cool.
That sounds like a sweet deal to me.
Right?
You know,
yeah.
You just never know. I don't know. I think that's personally what's missing in the industry right now. It's just like that grit to go out there and play anywhere and everywhere that will let you.
Yeah. No, that definitely is like it. I actually got lucky with that one just because I was posting a lot more of my covers on Facebook, and I had a friend who managed that restaurant and was just like, hey, you know, we want someone to perform live for us for 3 hours. You can sing anything, and I really like your videos, and you know, are you interested? And I'm like, yeah, totally. And to me at the time, I thought it was just like something I would just volunteer to do. I didn't even know I got paid until after the fact.
You're like, I thought the pizza was the payment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's just like, awesome, yo, like this is great. This is so sweet. But yeah, like I got lucky with that one. But from there, I feel like that's what like kind of jump started me and like actually wanting to go out there. So every opportunity for an open mic that I had, I was like, okay, I gotta go for it. And it became like such great like performing practice, and because it's different, you can sing in your room as many times, but like actually getting in front of people and like, hey, this is my music, like that's hard, you know. And like there's an entire technique in like how to handle your breathing and not sound so shaky when you're nervous, and it does take a lot of practice. So
what's the process between solo artist to boy band? You know, so like that's where I kind of found you in a way and was like, this makes so much sense. You know what I mean? Like, why did this not exist? So I'm like so happy that like, yeah, that you all exist. But I'm like, man, why didn't it exist sooner? You know, it makes so much sense. So tell me more about boy band and how you got involved with them.
So I had met boy band through a, I can't remember if it was an No, it was actually through a Craigslist ad.
What?
So, yeah. And the reason why is because, like, my gig over at the pizza place, they had to renovate the building for a while. It was like about 3 months. They had to close that building down. So I didn't really have that regular gig, and I'm like, that sucks. Like, I want to do something weekly, you know, like, to be able to channel, like, myself, my self-expression. And then, like, I looked it up on Craigslist to see if there were any restaurants that had an opening. And when I was looking at that, I saw their posting, and their posting was like, LGBTQ artist wanted, someone who was more so along the spectrum of like a tomboy side, and that was like all their requirements. So I'm like, oh, I could totally do this. And they had their link to their Instagram and their email. So I quickly DM'd them. I was really interested. And at the time, I have not, like, I had long hair on, and, like, I was always wearing makeup at the time. So I haven't, like, really came out as bi-gender yet. I was still along, like, that feminine spectrum still. So my Instagram was, like, very feminine, and they were very confused while I was, like, reaching out, you know? Like, they were very confused. And they almost rejected me at first. They were like, you know, you're not exactly, like, what we are looking for in terms of look, but we did check out your videos, and, like, there's no doubt about it, you have talent. So we are interested in you trying out. It's just we're not quite sure if it's going to work, just because, like, you don't have the look that we need. And I was just like, I feel like I do, and this is how I feel on the inside. And I kind of told them about, like, my journey a little bit, and opened up a bit through a DM. And I was like, no, like, if anything, I kind of need something to help me, like, get myself out there and, like, be able to express myself the way I want to. So, like, seeing your ad, I was just like, oh my God, like, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. And they were like, okay, like, we'll do a virtual audition and see how it goes. And it wasn't until, like, they saw how I talked, they saw how I, like, expressed myself, and, like, how I sang and everything. They're like, okay, now we see it. You know, you couldn't really see that, like, through pictures and, like, you know, videos and stuff on Instagram. So they're like, okay, now we see it. And yeah, like, that's how I found Boi Band. And from there, like, I feel like it's just a progressive journey of me expressing myself the way I want to express, like, because dressing more masculine was something I was so, like, afraid of doing, you know, like, I had a little bit of anxiety for it, just because, oh man, it was, like, embedded into my head, like, what will people think, you know, like, growing up. So, yeah, so for a while, like, it wasn't until Boi Band I was like, okay, like, I found a place where I can dress the way I want to dress, and, you know, talk the way I want to talk, and, like, and sing the songs I wanted to sing and perform. So at first it used to just be that, like, with our weekly practices where, like, I would be like that. But then it became, like, an everyday thing for me now, where I'm just like, you know what, like, why do I have to have, like, these two modes of myself? Like, why do I have to, like, because that's how it was before. Was at work, I would dress feminine, I would, like, express myself as a woman, but then in Boi Band, like, I'm this bi-gender, like, person, you know? And it wasn't until I'm like, I gotta be me, you know? Like, I started to feel a little more trapped in myself, and by the time I was, like, I finally came to terms with myself, I'm like, you know, if someone doesn't like you for the way you express yourself, like, that's not, they're the ones missing out.
What has it been like being in a boy band? You know, I think a lot of us tomboys out here are like, that is my dream, to be in that, and to have girls screaming and yelling after us and, like, getting chased down, and, you know, I'm very much of a 90s baby pop fan, so I'm like, yes, oh my gosh, like, I wish I could sing, I wish I could do all those things, I wish I could be in the band, but yeah, that's never gonna happen. But how has that experience been for you?
Oh, so much fun. Like, I feel like I'm living my dream, to be honest. Like, that's literally, you're right. Like, that's something that I grew up thinking too, where I'm
So
like seeing these,
jealous.
watching Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all of that. Like, I remember thinking that too, where I'm like, I wish I can be in that in a boy band, but you know, like, gender norms. But it's, but like, now that I am an actual boy band, like, it's so exciting for me. Like, I love getting together with them. I love practicing with them. Even if it's just practice, it still feels really good. Like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. And everyone's so different in their own way. But we all have, like, that essence of being that tomboy, you know? And have that passion for music. So, yeah, it's a fun experience. A really fun experience.
So to round this all out, I'm curious, what is the ultimate goal for you?
Man, the ultimate goal for me is to, you know, like, get somewhere big with my music. Like I mentioned before, like, I do want to be this icon, but like, not just any icon, just like someone who can represent, you know, the tomboy community. And just me being bi gender, there's so many people who don't even know that's a thing, you know. And I know there's like probably a lot of people can relate to how I'm feeling with myself, and like, and being somewhere in the middle, and knowing that you don't exactly have to completely transitions, but there are options for you, you know. And I want to be that symbol for that, like, and someone that people can be inspired and look up to. And I know that's a lot, but like, I dream big. And that's the ultimate dream for myself, is to be that that icon for people, and that person they look towards, and again, to like inspire people through my music, because that is something that really has saved my life like countless times. Like, I was definitely a person who did go through my depressions, and very much so, like, my gender dysphoria put me there a lot. So I felt like music was something that really spoke to me, and I'm still trying to find that I guess like a middle where I can like express both of like my gender expression and my music at the same time, where people can see that and relate, and they're like, oh my god, I'm not alone, you know. And yeah, that's my, and honestly, like, even if it was, gosh, like 10 people I inspired, to be honest, I feel like I'd still be happy, you know. Like, I'd still have that satisfaction, like, good, that's 10 more people who feel like they're not alone on this, you know.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And like I said, like, I'm usually the one that's the one with the biggest dreams. So when I heard that from you when we first got the chat, I was like, fuck yeah, like, finally someone's going big, like, that is it, you know. And
Yeah.
like you said, because I never heard that word like in a sentence from somebody, I guess. And I was just like, I had to like define in my head. I'm like, what is an icon? And I just started thinking of what I thought an icon. I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, that's huge, you know. And I just love that. And I just want you to know that, like, I want to support you in that journey. And I know, like, continuously building this platform, I'm going to be building fans for you regardless, you know. But like, if anything, we're like, yes, we need Kayden to be that person that we need in the music space, representing us, and being able to share parts of our story, and yeah, just being the awesome role model that you are.
That means so much to me. Wow. That, like, yeah, that means a lot to me. That's, oh, I'm just soaking that in, sorry. But, it means a lot that, like, you're saying that, just because I never thought, like, I would ever get this far with myself in life, you know. And, like, because when I really think back at it, and, like, remembering the dark place I really was with, like, who else can understand, like, what I'm going through, you know. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that, like, there's this entire community in that are an entire other community that is still waiting to be, like, you know, educated and taught, and, like, still in that, or not even know, like, there's this entire journey that you can be with yourself and be like, this is it. Like, you know, all it takes is that other person to be like, bi gender, what is that? And then and to have that same, like, full satisfaction in themselves. Like, that's, oh man, if I can give that to someone, like, that would make my life, you know, like, that's cool.
And I'm sure you're already doing that, you know, and again, like, especially you combining forces with Boi Band and showing that we can still be ourselves and be different, and you know, it's gonna be happening all throughout your journey. You know, it's just, we just need someone that's really out there sitting at those big tables having those big conversations, and like no, like, you need to put me on at the Super Bowl. Like, that's right. It. Period. You know, which is really interesting. I don't know how the Super Bowl became one of the biggest stages ever, but just know that we are here supporting you until that day happens.
That means a lot. That means so much. Oh, man.
I mean, I'm going to be just like I was jumping around with Madonna, the icon, and Britney and Christina kissing. I'm going to be jumping on my bill. Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to freak out. Actually, if anything, why don't you just give me a ticket so I can just be there? How about that?
I'll get you that VIP access, you know?
Yes. The last question would be, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, man. I would tell my younger self, whatever you're feeling, like, express it. Just be yourself. Don't even question. Don't even worry about blending in, you know? Like, I feel like my younger self went through all these series of, like, stages and phases of confusion because, like, I tried to fit in and I tried to be, like, just be with my friends or find people to relate to. But I feel like now that I actually express the way that I feel, I have more genuine connections, you know? And if I knew that back then, God, like, who knows where I would have been now, you know? But it's cool because I feel like it's awesome that I am going through this journey now, you know? But yeah, I definitely would tell my younger self, don't be afraid to be yourself, you know? Like, you were born to stand out. You were born to inspire. You were born to, like, open this door of, instead of just sticking to the freaking gender norms and only having pink or blue the pink or blue gender reveals, like, let's make it a rainbow gender reveal, you know? Like, I don't know. Or just not even a gender reveal at all. Like, it, however a person is, like, I don't know, like, now I'm going, like, into a whole different tangent, but anyway, yeah, I would just tell myself to just be myself. And that sounds so cliche, but, like, I really wish someone told me that.
I love that. Is there any last words, any last thoughts, any last, like, anything that you want to tell yourself today that you could look back on this interview 10 years from now?
You're in for a long ride, bud. Like, buckle up. This is just the beginning, you know? Because it is. Like, I just found myself last year, yo. Like, I feel like I am just now growing up. Like, I'm finally, like, living my life. Yeah. And, who knows where I would be in 10 years? But I do have this, like, really strong, and maybe this is this millennial side of myself, but I do have a strong feeling, like, however I'm feeling right now, like, is exactly how I'm supposed to be feeling. And, like, this is a journey that I'm supposed to be in. And even just having opportunities like this to, like, talk to you about it and share it with other people, like, this is exactly where you need to be. And it can only go up from here. So.
All right, Kayden, that's all the questions I have. I just want to give you opportunity if there's any, like, last minute thoughts that you wanted to share with everybody, or anything that you wanted to touch on before we head on out of here.
Instead of just, like, saying that advice of towards my younger self, I really would like to share the same exact thing with everyone else, you know? You aren't alone, and however you're feeling, there are so many other people who feel the same way. It's about time to bring out, like, those different representations. There is literally an entire spectrum of a rainbow, and I can say the same thing about people. It's about, like, you know, finally just expressing yourself, being yourself, and being that voice. And the more you bring yourself out there, I feel like the less people would feel so trapped and so, like, and have that development of anxiety to even just be who you are. I really encourage people to, like, God, there's no other way, better way to put it, is to be yourself. And I know I keep saying that, but it really is, like, that's it. That's, like, you're meant to do something in this world. And even though everyone's different, like, I feel like that's what makes the entire world round. That's what completes everything. And gosh, if everyone can do that, maybe this world would be more balanced.
Hey y'all, I hope you enjoyed that conversation I had with Kayden. Again, as you can tell, that we've had the opportunity to build a friendship over the past month and just getting to know each other. And I hope that you were excited that you got to learn something new about what it means to be bigender, and that that's an option for us living on the spectrum. I know that that was something that was very big for them once that they realized, like, oh my gosh, like, this is something I've been feeling for a really long time. But as you remember them saying at the very end, was talking about feeling alone and feeling like that there's not people out there that are going through similar experiences. And I just want you to know that's a big reason why I'm creating Tomboi International, is that I know that there's tomboys out there. I know that y'all are out there, like in BFE, like Indiana or like Louisiana or somewhere where there's not a big community of us, you know, and not feeling like you have anyone around you to turn to. That's a big vision for me, to be able to help spark those communities in those spaces, so that if, you know, you're going through a hard time in middle school or high school, like, at least at that point where you feel like you can get into some public transportation or get a ride to, you know, the city, you get to see people that are like you and that are all connected into this big network of Tomboi International. So just as Kayden said, you all are not alone. We are not alone, and that is a big part of this work, is to show that there's so many of us that are out here living the best life that we possibly can, and that we are here to support each other in any and all of our endeavors. So again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for taking the time to just be here and to listen to our stories, and know that we have been here, we've always been here, and that our experiences are just as valid as anything else that you see in media or on TV or anything like that. So don't be afraid to be yourself, just as Kayden said, and just know that we're here to support you in your journey too. So speaking of that, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach me at K.Short, or if you just want to see who else I put onto Tomboi International and Tomboi TV, you can follow that Instagram too. But in the meantime, I hope you all take very good care of yourselves. That is the biggest revolution, is just taking care of yourself and being true to yourself. And you all just be good, be well, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye now.